Hey guys, and welcome to my video on Hardwig's ownership, possession, and consumption. And then we will also get into the desire for more is killing us. So first we're going to talk about the difference between possession and ownership. So how Hardwig's explained it is that ownership, and I'm going to quote his words a little bit, is to own something is to have a complex bundle of legal and moral rights to the thing. And so basically, for example, I have papers on my dog saying that she's my dog and that she's a pit bull. So I would own her in a sense because I have papers on her saying that she is legally mine and that she is my doggy. Yeah, so that is what would own. Now for possession, basically you were saying that you must establish a relationship to this thing. For the possession, something is to relate oneself to it. So, for example, if I wanted to say that I possess this blanket, it's my blanket. I have related myself to it because I sleep with it every night. It smells like me. I possess this blanket. I don't legally have ownership of it because there's no legal papers saying that this blanket is mine because I don't have the receipt anymore when I bought it. I don't even think I bought it. I think my mother bought it. So if you went by Hardwig's rules is that I don't own this blanket, I possess this blanket because I have related myself onto it because it smells like me, it smells like my dog, who I do own because I have papers on her saying that she is mine. Now for his argument. So what I have gotten out of his argument is basically he argues the difference between possession and ownership, which I've already went over, and that you really shouldn't buy stuff that is way out of your not price zone, but what you think you would be comfortable. For example, if I went out and bought Nivea, say a $300 little ride around scooter thing, Nivea wouldn't use that. She wouldn't know how to use it, and her little brother, Maverick, we met him, would probably steal that from her, and that would just be pointless. Or like how I just bought one of those circle bottles, if y'all know what I'm talking about, you put the flavor in there and stuff like that. I bought it because I was like, ooh, I drink a lot of water, and sometimes I want flavored water, and ooh. I should have really just stayed with simple water, or maybe buying those little squeezy things to put in the water because I hate it. I have it set on one and I feel like it puts way too much flavor out and it's just stuck in my mouth. And it wasn't expensive, but it was just something that was not me. I don't need it, so it's not going to be a possession. It's just going to be ownership because I have legally bought it. And so that's mainly what he talks about is your difference between ownership, possession, and you shouldn't buy stuff that you don't think you're going to actually use. And the reason why I think he says that ownership is just shallow and dissatisfying while possession can be fulfilling, like I said earlier, my dog, I have papers on her, so legally she is mine. Sorry, that was her. But that could just mean that she is mine legally, just like my car is mine legally. But I could have no attachment to them. But I have attachment to this blanket because it smells like me and I sleep with it every night. But if Nevaeh was a Nevaeh and she was some crazy dog, I probably wouldn't have attachment to her, and that's why it's ownership, because I legally have her. But I have not related myself to her. And that's why I think he thinks this is dissatisfying. Trimbal's main point for his lessons from Plato's is basically that the more we consume, the more it's going to kill us, which says in the article name, sorry. But the reason that is because, like our teacher was explaining in his video, even though they can get the delicacies of a couple of things, once they start adding more and more to that list, they can't just magically appear. Like, you have to have money to make those, and then you have to go conquer other cities, steal their stuff, and the more you consume, the more it's just killing everyone around you and killing yourself, because you're never going to feel satisfied by any of it. You're always just going to feel like you need more and more and more. But if you have what you need and you don't feel like you need more, then you'll be way more satisfied than someone who has a mansion who has 30 rooms in it and still feels like they need more. So that is what he talks about for his consumption. Now, for Hardwig's and Trimbal's arguments, so basically my argument to articulate theirs is first, we need Americans to understand the difference between ownership and possession, which is what Hardwig talks about. So ownership, like I said, is when you legally own something. So when you own your car, you have papers when you buy something, stuff like that. You legally own it. But possessions is something you have put your hard mind, you've connected yourself to, stuff like that. So we need to understand that. So first, once we understand that, then we can understand consumption. And so once we understand our consumption, is that the more we consume, the more it kills us, which is what Trimble says, because we just want more and more and more. Then we wouldn't want to do that once we understand ownership and possession, because we understand them. We don't want to have ownership of something if we don't have possession, because it's not going to make us satisfied. So once we have realized that, and then we realize that the more we consume, the more it's going to kill us, then we are also going to realize that consumption, we need to rationalize it. We need to realize, oh, hey, I don't need to buy this expensive thing because I'm not going to be satisfied with it. I'm not going to be excited with it. I'm not going to use it. I'm not going to need it. And once we have done all of that, it's going to make our lives easier and simpler, because we have realized that consumption was consuming us itself, and we don't need consumption anymore. We realize that we just need some bare necessities, and we don't need everything in the world. So for me to help you with my argument, I want to start off with saying that first, once we understand ownership and possession, then we will understand consumption, that it is killing us. Because if we understand ownership and possession, then we understand why consumption is killing us. And once we realize why consumption is killing us, then we will understand why we don't need to consume everything, because we have understood possession and ownership. And once we have realized all of this, then we will become better peace and more satisfied, because we realize that we don't need all of that, and that consumption was consuming us. Here's my lovely diagram, with 1 being understand possession and ownership, which will lead us to cause to 2 and 3, which is consuming kills us and consumption will be no more. And then they both lead to 4, which is our conclusion, which we will find better happiness. Thanks, guys.